Over the last week and a half, we've seen a bitter power struggle between two factions that the AIADMK found itself divided into. On the one hand was O Selvam, chosen and handpicked, many say, as the successor of Jayalalitha by the Iron Lady herself. And on the other hand was the lady who had shadowed her for over 30 years of her life. But today, just one verdict which was read out in about 5 to 10 minutes just put paid to all of Sasikala's dreams to occupy the top office in the state. Here's how it happened.
Nothing less than a political quake in Tamil Nadu. A verdict which shatters chief ministerial dreams of Sasikala. A verdict which boosts the fortunes of the challenger. A verdict with the power to split Tamil Nadu's biggest political party.
It was exactly at 10:36 a.m. today that the bench led by Justice P.C. Ghosh pronounced Sasikala and the other accused guilty in the disproportionate assets case, putting all rumours of a split verdict or any other reprieve for Sasikala to rest. For now, Sasikala stands convicted by none other than the top court of the country.
The order overturned the Karnataka High Court verdict acquitting Sasikala and two others, saying she has to complete her 4-year jail term. With Sasikala already having spent 6 months in jail earlier, she now faces a 3.5-year jail term. The order asks her to surrender immediately.
Poise Garden or Vedanilayam, where Sasikala was housing herself after the passing away of Jayalalitha, is now completely silent here. People are not only they are very upset with the fact that she has been convicted and she'll have to spend the rest of her 4 years in jail, but they're also saying that this is a huge conspiracy, especially by OPS as well as the central government.
The mood was just the opposite at O Selvan's residence, with supporters breaking out into celebrations.
Look around me, the number of supporters who've gathered here at his residence. You know, this has become a makeshift area for supporters to get together as well. You can hear slogans being raised for Amma as well as for O Selvam. AIADMK flags are in the air, people with all of their gear coming together here to once again salute to O Selvam.
Amma's spirit and Amma's goodwill will protect the people of Tamil Nadu and the state. I'd like to inform all the people, all the leaders of all the parties, all the party cadre, and every person who has an undying love for Amma. I give you my complete assurance. It will only be Amma's goodwill. It's Amma's goodwill that's happening now.
The legal options in front of Sasikala are few. The verdict disqualifies her from becoming an MLA for 10 years and ends her dream to be Chief Minister. Effectively, the next destination for Sasikala will not be the Chief Minister's office, but a jail in Karnataka. Bureau Report, India Today.
So, VK Sasikala was supposed to surrender immediately, but that has not happened only because the papers required have not been received in Bengaluru. But that action will happen soon. In the meantime, high drama witnessed at the Golden Bay Resort. Remember, VK Sasikala herself had spent the night there yesterday, deciding to not come back to Poise Garden. She actually stayed with all of her MLAs. But even as we speak, there were police vans that had pulled up there. Section 144 had already been imposed. In fact, let me quickly bring in my colleague Pramod Madhav. For long, O Selvam and his supporters have said, Pramod, that there are these thugs, there are these strong men known as rowdies, who are literally holding the MLAs hostage there, but they are in plain clothes. Are these the elements that the police is now trying to remove?
Well, Padmaja, to begin with, 2 days ago we were at Poise Garden and I was talking right in front of Poise Garden. We were waiting for Sasikala. And today the mood has changed, and right now in front of Golden Bay, this is the place that is hosting the ADMK's General Secretary VK Sasikala and their legislative party MLAs who are inside the place along with her. Now, after meeting the governor, Edapadi Palaniswamy, Sengottayan, Jayakumar, everybody are once again over here. We have no contact as to what is happening inside. There were a large number of police, almost 60% have been removed right now. We don't see any people standing over here. It is in a fact true, as we spoke to the sources and people over here, it was true that like people dressed in plain clothes were causing a lot of trouble yesterday, day before yesterday, and so until she met the press yesterday to brief a bit, after which the situation has calmed down here. After what happened in the court today morning, her verdict and her conviction, the situation has completely changed over here. Edapadi has reached with the governor to form the government. We thought he would give some sort of kind of insight. Is it like when is going to happen? What is going to happen? We tried to catch him at the governor's place. He did not answer to our queries. Even here, he did not answer to our questions. Not just him, any minister, they don't want to answer to our questions. We also come to know that one MP, Namanitha Krishnan, who is very famous for singing that Kashmir song in the parliament, who was here, he stated that if the police try to evict them forcefully, they will go on a book hartal. This is a situation right now. When we asked him about what is going to happen with the General Secretary, he didn't want to answer out to that question. He just said simply that the legal wing is trying to formulate a plan. Something would be done efficiently soon, Parnaja.
All right, but even as this action is unfolding outside the Golden Bay Resort, let's also tell you what happened through the day. There were hectic meetings held by both the sides. Sasikala, even as she was closeted with all of her MLAs, even as the threat of surrender, in fact, rather the instructions of surrender loomed large, she was in consultation with some close members of her family and, of course, all of the MLAs who reportedly are still in her camp. On the other side, here at O. Selvam's residence, all the MLAs and the MPs who are still in his camp. The MLAs are about 10 in number, the MPs are about 13. All of them met, and in the evening, first there was a meeting of with the governor of the man who has now been elected a member of the legislative party by the Sasikala camp. And of course, now to give a competition to OPS, there is an EPS. He carried a letter which carried the signatures of all the MLAs who are in the Sasikala camp to the governor and stake claim to form government. And then in the evening around 7 p.m, the emissary of O. Selvam was also sent. Dear Sudhir, consulting editor, is also live with us on 8 p.m. What will the governor do now? Because both sides have staked claim, but the fact of the matter is, Sudhir, that as is apparent to all of us, the numbers are not with OPS. Is he now going to hinge everything, going to bet everything on the possibility that some MLAs are going to cross over when it comes to actual voting?
Well, he will need more than 100 MLAs to come out of the resort and say they were all made to sign under duress. Will that happen? We do not know. We just heard K. Pandirajan, the School Education Minister of Tamil Nadu, just a while ago on Karan Thapa show saying that by tomorrow morning we will have a majority. So he's expecting over 100 MLAs to cross over in the cover of darkness from the Palaniswamy camp to the Selvam camp. I don't really see that happening, but the more important and the important decision has to be taken by Raj Bhavan, because Palaniswamy has submitted a list with the signatures of all the supporting MLAs. Now, it is for the governor to decide on two things. One, whether any of the signatures were made under duress. How is he going to ascertain that? He will have to find a way to ensure that all those MLAs were on their own free will, they actually supported Palaniswamy. Number two, whether he really has a majority in the Tamil Nadu Assembly, for which a floor test will have to be done. So what would be expected right now, as against the objections the governor had raised in the Sasikala case, he will have no such objections in the Palaniswamy case, which means that he will have to invite him to take the oath of office, swear him in, and ask him to take the floor test as soon as possible, probably in the next 24 to 48 hours, given the kind of circumstances we are in. As far as the Selvam camp is concerned, they're only hoping that many of the MLAs who are under duress will cross over, thereby ensuring that at least the Palaniswamy camp will not have a majority to form the government, even if the Selvam camp does not have the majority. So both the AIDMK factions will not be in a position to form the next government.
Okay, let me also ask you, Pramod, and let's just put it out there. Yesterday evening, there was this very dramatic return or rather escape of an MLA from the Madurai area who had run away from the resort, apparently under the cover of darkness and in disguise. Is there a kind of rescue operation to retrieve some of these MLAs allegedly held hostage by the OPS camp? Is the OPS camp now mounting some kind of rescue operation? What are your sources telling you?
Well, thank you for asking that question, because like the first thing when I came to this place, because earlier we were not allowed to come near the resort, and the first thing when I came over here was to see how tall is this wall. You can see this is almost just as tall as me, close to 5.10 feet alone, and this thing, the same, you can easily climb and come across. What the minister A. Saravanan from Madurai South stated that he wore a disguise. According to him, his disguise was a t-shirt and a Bermuda short. And he said, like, when Sasikala entered the place, he just walked out. And not just that, he gave us a kind of a detailed explanation how his escape was. He said, like, from here he had to walk quite a long distance, almost a kilometer. From there, he took he got a lift through somebody. Then he reached the city. Over there, he called up his friends, and through his friends' help, he reached Paneerselvam. There, he was given a hero's welcome. That is what occurred to Mr. A. Saravanan. Today morning, also, there was one MLA who joined OPS. His name was Semmalai. His thing was entirely different. When we spoke to the people over here, we heard that he has spoken to Mr. Sengottayan MLA, and he has said that like he would like to go to his home. He freely went to his home. From there, he did not return back here, but went to OPS camp. That's what Semmalai did. Semmalai is one person who holds a lot of guts in this. He holds a lot of control over ADMK in certain sectors as well. And right now, all we can see is like there's quite a lot of police presence over here. Should be at least 600 police. Different battalions are over here. There are like top officials as well. As you can see, the whole place is swarmed with a lot of crowd. And it's like if somebody needs rescue, it's not a hard thing to rescue anybody. 124 people, over almost 700 people. I don't think it's like really that hard to rescue them. But apparently the MLAs and certain ministers, I would like to point out Sengottayan, Edappadi Palaniswamy, Jayakumar and Mr. Navanitha Krishnan have repeatedly said that they are not here against their will. They have been here only to find out a solution to whatever the party is going through right now. Earlier they said they had a program in which they chosen Edappadi Palaniswamy as the legislative leader. Now they are waiting for the government to be formed. I asked Navanitha Krishnan again, will you leave when the government is formed? He assured us once the government is formed, they will leave this place immediately, Padmaja.
All right, because the official line still remains, believe it or not, that all these MLAs with their phones switched off, inaccessible, are actually there out of their own free will. They're just having fun like one big happy family. Stay with me, T.S. Sudhir and Pramod, because I also want to tell our viewers just how drastically different the reactions of the two camps were. In fact, the most awkward moment perhaps in the morning was witnessed by my colleague Akshita Nandgopal when outside the house of Sasikala at Poise Garden, a group of her supporters actually misunderstood the verdict that had come from the Supreme Court, with the result that they initially started bursting firecrackers. It's only 30 seconds later that they realized their folly. Here is how it happened.
Deafening celebrations in the heart of Chennai. Deathly silence just miles away. Sasikala's conviction elicited wildly different reactions in the politically polarized environment of Tamil Nadu. Celebrations broke out at Paneerselvam's residence as soon as the verdict was announced.
Amma's spirit and Amma's goodwill will protect the people of Tamil Nadu and the state.
Honorable Chief Minister has given a request for all the other MLAs to join hands and restore Amma's government.
But there was a heavy pall of gloom at Sasikala's residence at Poise Garden.
Minutes ago, the verdict from the Supreme Court was out in the disproportionate assets case. In fact, we thought it was good news. We saw celebrations all over. Firecrackers were being burst. There were slogans being shouted. But now the news has just trickled in and is just settling in for all these people.
Security was immediately strengthened at the resort where Sasikala was camping since Monday night.
Within seconds after the announcement was made, we saw that a lot of public who are living in and around this area coming out and raising anti-Sasikala slogans and rejoicing at the fact that she has been convicted.
Inside the resort, Sasikala huddled with her supporters to choose her replacement, and eventually E. Palanisamy was selected.
All the leaders met and discussed this, and Dindigul Srinivas has selected me.
As a parting shot, Sasikala removed O. Paneerselvam and 19 of his loyalists from the party. While Palanisamy is being seen as Sasikala's proxy, she made it clear she will not go down without a fight.
Case is there, we are going to appeal for that. There is appeal, definitely review petition will be there.
While the Supreme Court verdict has closed Chapter 1, the political turmoil in Tamil Nadu seems far from over. And it remains to be seen who will eventually be anointed the Chief Minister. With Akshaya Nath, Pramod, Ashish in Kovathur and Padmaja Joshi and Akshata Nandgopal in Chennai, Bureau Report, India Today.
Consulting editor T.S. Sudhir continues to be with us. Sudhir, the brutal, commonsensical assessment of most people, the man on the street that I speak to, is that now, since the Sasikala camp has the numbers, when it comes to a floor test, they are going to prove their majority. E. Palanisamy is going to be the chief minister, and Sasikala is going to be the remote chief minister, the remote control chief minister. Is that a fair assessment, or do you think that there could be more tricks there in the bag? There could be more surprises in store for us?
Well, going by the numbers, of course, Palanisamy does seem to be ahead. He has his nose ahead, at least in this battle with Paneerselvam, who's really banking on the police rescuing many of those MLAs out of the Golden Bay Resort and them actually crossing over to the Paneerselvam camp. But remember one thing, the AIDMK MLAs do not want a snap poll in 2017. So they will obviously want to stick together with the camp that seems to ensure that there is a majority and a government in place in Tamil Nadu, failing which if the two camps actually fall, they would be looking at a snap poll 6 months from now. So they wouldn't want that. Number two, about trying to be a remote control chief minister, very possible. I was looking at the photograph when Palanisamy met the Governor Vidyasagar Rao. The person sitting to his right is TTV Dinakaran, the nephew of Sasikala. It's quite likely that he would really be the key person outside who would really be controlling and be some kind of a link between Sasikala's family and the government of Tamil Nadu, mainly Chief Minister Palanisamy, to ensure that everything that is done by the government of Tamil Nadu and also by extension the AIDMK party is actually done keeping the interest of the Sasikala Parivar in mind. So TTV Dinakaran is going to be key man. So let's not rule out the Sasikala influence of the party, even if she's going to be there in Bengaluru Central Prison for the next 4 years. That is definitely going to continue, and that is something which many people in Tamil Nadu would definitely be looking at with a lot of concern.
And yet the O. Paneerselvam camp continues to be very, very confident. What do they have up their sleeve? Is there another surprise, more crossovers that will happen over the next few hours? Certain seems like it from their confidence. For now, T.S. Sudhir and Pramod Madhav, thank you very much for joining us. But for Jayalalitha, it was a road into politics that was cut short very, very abruptly. For the first few days after the death of Jayalalitha, V.K. Sasikala played the role of someone who did not want power, who shunned power, wanted to stay away from politics and was only grieving the loss of a dear friend, only to be convinced some months later by the party cadre to step into Jayalalitha's shoes. However, what she hadn't bargained for is that O. Paneerselvam, dismissed more often than not as a night watchman, would actually begin to like the power that he had wielded.
6th of December 2016. As the nation mourned one of India's tallest leaders, Jayalalitha's closest confidant emerged from the shadows and stepped into the limelight, sparking speculation that she would soon step into Jaya's political shoes. It was claimed that a day before, on 5th of December, Sasikala had held a meeting in the hospital with top ministers where a succession plan was chalked out. But contrary to popular belief, Sasikala Natarajan chose to bide her time. Almost a month later, Chinnamma formally took over as the party chief.
Our Amma used to roar like a lion, saying that AIADMK will thrive for over 100 years.
The rumours were proved true. Sasikala was elected the new legislature party chief and Paneerselvam resigned as the chief minister of Tamil Nadu. But what had seemed like a smooth transition of power soon hit troubled waters. And thus began the tussle for power in Tamil Nadu.
They grabbed my hand and said, "You have to defend the party's honor even now. Otherwise, you'll be violating the party's rules." And they forced me to sign it.
Chinnamma acted quickly, sending off the MLAs supporting her to a remote resort. But that didn't stop leaders from defecting to OPS camp. It was the acting governor of the state who dealt the second blow to Sasikala's plan, choosing to wait till the Supreme Court verdict before taking any action. Even as Judgment Day approached, Shashi remained hopeful.
As long as each one of you is with me, not one person can split up the AIADMK. I have faced hurdles like this for 33 years and come this far.
February 14th dashed Sasikala's hopes of gaining the Tamil throne. The Supreme Court announced her conviction and sentenced her to another 3.5 years in jail. But Chinnamma refuses to give up without a fight. Maybe too soon to bid Sasikala goodbye. Bureau Report, India Today.
That's it then on today's edition of 8 p.m. Coming up on the other side of a quick break, within a span of 2 months, Sasikala made the quick journey of rising phenomenally and then making her way to prison. From power to prison, how did she make this journey? That special show coming up next.